Welcome to What Have I Just Read with Michael, Malcolm, Alison and Nadia.
And the jingle.
And the jingle. Where's the jingle? Where's the jingle?
Excellent.
Nadia, you were a star.
Amazing. That was a long Old
And it's
Testament.
a lot of different tribes and people.
2 Chronicles 20. So why is this important, and why are we interested to read all this stuff?
It's interesting, isn't it? I suppose it is a contrast. Jehoshaphat here is being contrasted to Ahab, who we read about 2 or 3 days ago, who wanted to go to war against somebody who gets all his prophets and doesn't consult the prophet of Yahweh, the prophet of the Lord, Micaiah, because he says he always says bad stuff about me. And anyway, does, and Micaiah eventually says, disaster will happen.
Yes.
And Ahab says to Jehoshaphat, didn't I tell you, he always prophesies bad about me.
But do they still go to war? Or is this
I think
another occasion now?
this is a different occasion.
Okay. But this is really showing.
Shows how Jehoshaphat is so very different when Jehoshaphat is given control.
And he absolutely, waits on God, doesn't he? And takes God's advice and listens to God.
Yeah.
Are we going to say that? Oh, no.
And what I love about it is in the end, this thing that promises to be so terrifying just evaporates.
And they sort of
basically the 3 enemies who are going to come and destroy themselves.
Yeah.
And so the Israelites have to do, the people of Judah have to do nothing.
And it's lovely that they go along and they're going and praising God. All they're doing is that they're not.
That's it.
They're not even having war strategy. They're not having.
All he says is get the choir out.
Right. It's just lovely, and this give thanks to the Lord for His steadfast love endures forever. That's just such a fantastic.
So after all their worry and angst and concern, the battle kind of vanishes. Right?
Exactly.
Because they get routed by something else.
No, they turn on each other.
They turn on each
other, right?
They turn on each other. So
having faith in the Lord, they kind of it all figures itself out.
And doesn't that happen?
It's so like life.
And time again, you get really worried about something, you pray about it, you bring it before God, and suddenly the next day it's sort of wasn't even a problem. Why was it a problem?
Why were you even worrying about it?
Yeah.
It's very true. Very true.
I like that, yeah.
Great.
And then
an amazing reading from Romans.
Yeah, we missed a big bit from Romans yesterday because having talked about all those things that about in Romans chapter 1 and all the sort of terrible things that the Gentiles do at the beginning of Romans chapter 2, Paul turns to his readers and says, "And you, why do you you look at these things and in condemning other people yourselves, in judging them, you judge yourselves."
Right.
Yeah.
So it turns it right the way round.
And that's a build up to this, to 17.
Right. Yes.
Right.
You're
teaching all this stuff, but you're not.
But you're a hypocrite.
And it's this whole thing, isn't it, about the outward show. You think you're Jew, you're Jews, you've had the circumcision but actually.
But I said it was Tuesday about
Didn't we?
circumcision and how it's different in the Old Testament and in the New Testament.
And how we said, didn't we, that Paul said at some point that it's about circumcision of the heart in the end.
Right.
But it's actually internal. It's how you. It's to do with your internal, if you like, covenant. This covenant that you have.
But it's interesting that comment. A person is a Jew who's one inwardly. Real circumcision is a matter of the heart. Isn't that fascinating? It's a spiritual, not literal. This whole idea of the spirit of the law rather than the letter of the law. Amazing. And it's incredible. And it also that whole thing is because I've always mentioned this idea that Jesus sort of came along as a Jew, but he was sort of opening up the world for everybody in a way.
Physically circumcised, but he opened it all up to everybody.
Yeah.
And I like this at the end that, the whole thing about the Jews, they're wanting praise from everyone because of who they are and what they've done. And yet it's here at the very end such a person receives praise not from others. It doesn't matter about praise from others, but from God. That you're right with God.
Yeah. Oh, if only we could live by that.
Yes.
It's not what others think, it's what God thinks.
Yeah, it's very
Lovely.
excellent.
Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
see you tomorrow.
We won't see you tomorrow.
We won't see you tomorrow, but might
We
see
might
you.
see you online.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Great.